Hey guys! So I felt like doing a little bit of an updated Resin Charm tutorial. So in this one I'm going to show you how I've made these really kuma charms. Some of them are like for keychains and the others are going to be pieces for my new Decoden case. Starting with everything I'm going to use. So up first is my favorite resin. It's called Amazing Clear Cast. A measuring cup, a mixing cup, and something to mix with. I would recommend investing in some silicone ones so you're able to reuse them. Your choice of silicone mold, this one's from AliExpress. I use acrylic paint to color my resin charms. I found any brand works as well as any other brand. I will mention this is incorrect. You do run the risk of your resin charms not setting correctly by adding a water-based product, but in my experience I've found that my resin charms do set fine as long as I'm just working with pastel or small amounts of colorant. I use a heat gun to pop the small air bubbles that form in my resin charms. You'll see what I mean shortly. If you do not have a heat gun, you can easily use a hairdryer or even a straw just by blowing hot air through it. The idea is just that the warm air will pop the air bubbles that have risen to the top of your charms. I'm going to start by mixing equal parts A and B together, so I am just following the instructions on my resin. Depending on the temperature, your resin may need to be slightly warmed. So I live in New Zealand and I find resin very different to work with in the middle of winter. I find mixing parts A and B together easier when the resin is slightly warm. So if it's the middle of winter, I will warm my resin by putting it in a lukewarm water bath. Do ensure the water is not hot. If it's hot, you're going to seize your resin and just ruin it. But it is a smidge easier to work with it when it's warmed, so bear that in mind if you're having difficulty. When you're mixing your resin, you want to do this as slowly as possible. The slower you mix it, the less air you're going to be incorporating in at this stage, which is just going to save you a lot of trouble later down the line. Follow the instructions on how long it tells you to mix the resin, but for my resin here, you can see it looks kind of cloudy since I'm still mixing it together. When I'm finished, which might be about 5 minutes, it should be totally crystal clear. Here is my resin now that I've finished mixing it together. You can see it's crystal clear with minimal air bubbles. I'm going to now use my heat gun to pop the air bubbles. Remember, you can use a hairdryer or a straw. Ensure that you turn your hairdryer or heat gun on facing away from your resin. This is just so any particles that are like stuck on the element aren't going to fly into your resin and get stuck in the resin itself. You may get fluff or dust stuck in your resin very easily, so you can see right now I'm just going ahead and taking that all out before I pour it. Now I'm going to start pouring my resin, so I'm just doing a thin, clear layer to start with in all of these molds. I will say you do need to invest a fair amount of time making sure your silicone molds are totally clean, no fingerprints or dust or stray bits of glitter stuck in there, otherwise they'll be stuck forever. Now I'm going to go around the edges and remove any little air bubbles that get stuck in the high detail areas. So I kind of just move the air bubbles and like coax them up to the surface where I can pop them. And here I am using my heat gun to pop those air bubbles that I've managed to get to the top. I'm going to set these aside while I work on coloring some resin for the next layer. Here's some resin that I have already mixed and separated into 3 little containers. So I'm going to be working with 3 colors today. I'm adding white to all of them, and then I'm going to add a little bit of the color that I wish to have. Now for arguably the best part, I'm going to add glitter. So I like to use lots of different kinds of glitter in my resin charms, of all different shapes and sizes and colors or whatever. I think the more the better, to be honest. But of course that is for the look that I'm going for. You do whatever might suit whatever you're making. I found once I've added the paint and glitter into my resin, it is okay to mix it a bit faster. Of course this video is sped up, but I'm not mixing it as slowly as I am at the beginning. Now I'm going to start pouring my colored resin into a variety of molds. So you can see for my smaller molds, I do not do a layer of clear resin to begin with. I think they look just fine being the solid color. Back to my real kuma charms. I have let that first layer of resin set for a while. It is solid but still tacky to the touch. Before pouring your colored resin, I would suggest you pause. If you want a more concentrated glitter effect and with specific pieces placed in certain areas, you can see little strawberries, and that first charm I poured had half blue and half pink stars. So to achieve this, I would recommend you add your glitter now while that first layer of resin is tacky. You know, just sprinkle it on or place it on specifically where you want it. then you may add your colored resin on top. This is going to make sure that those bits of glitter or whatever you're adding are in the specific places that you want. The resin that I am adding does still have some glitter in it because I love glitter, but this is how you would get a more concentrated, specifically placed glitter arrangement. Back to my really kuma charms, you can see I did not do this. The glitter is just mixed into the colored resin. You will just get a different effect, which you will see at the end. When I'm going for a marbled colored resin effect, once I've poured all of my colors, I do like to take a toothpick and just swirl them around slightly to blend some of the edges. Now for one of the best parts, it's demolding your resin charms. So I am just quickly going through all of the small ones and then onto my big ones. You can see adding a clear layer of resin first definitely does give it a more crystal or glass-like effect on the top. I absolutely love how these real kumas turned out. I think the glitter placement's pretty nice for it being, totally random and not me placing it there specifically. This one here I will use for a phone case. I really loved the colors. This kuma charm I'm going to turn into a keychain. I buy these attachments from AliExpress. I'm going to be using UV resin to stick on that little attachment. Since it sets so quickly, I find it the best way to do it, I suppose. I have a little UV light here, which I'm just using to cure that resin. My UV resin is all set and you can see it is firmly attached. I'm quickly sanding the edges down just a smidge to make them a little bit lower. So this is a wee hack I've only recently started doing. I'm just adding a little bit of glue tack right where the attachment is to stop any overspills. So this is the only point where I will tend to get overspills, if any, just because of the attachment. I suppose it seems to, spill over the edge right here. But when I add this glue tack, it totally stops it from doing that. And if a little bit does spill over, it doesn't make it all the way to the front and ruin the charm. I'm now going to flood the back of my resin charm just with some clear resin. This is not UV resin, that would be far too expensive for me. So once I've poured some in, I'm just using a toothpick to kind of coax it towards the edges. I'm now doing something I should have done when that colored layer of resin was still tacky and my resin charm was still inside of its mold. And that is just adding more glitter. So I recently started uni. I did these molds over like my first week of university, so I was like all over the place and a little bit forgetful. So I guess what I am demonstrating here is that you can add the glitter now, I suppose. It's still gonna be pretty cute. It's just definitely a little bit trickier. Like, I wouldn't recommend it, but it's totally possible. And here she is, my finished real kuma charm. I think she's super precious. I like the colors. I think the glitter is really cute. You can see I've added the extra attachments like a little strawberry and star and a little baby wing just to make it a little bit more fun and cute. And here is the back, which in my opinion is looking pretty good for adding my glitter last minute. I wanted to give you a little sneak peek of the phone case I made. So all of these resin charms here are the ones that I casted in this video. I went for like a really kuma space theme, which is really cute. I'll make like a really super short and sweet whip with me video for this case. But yeah, she just turned out really nice and I wanted to show you. Here is a photo of that real kuma charm I showed you just before. So I love taking photos of my charms outside. I feel like the natural daylight just makes them come to life more so and makes them look like they do in real life, I suppose. But yeah, I thought I'd just show you again and the back. But that's everything, I guess. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope I may have given you some tips or tricks that could help you out. I am posting a lot more of my resin work on Instagram now, so I'll pop up my handle for just my resin charms and stuff, because yeah, I've got another one. But yeah, that's just for charms and polymer clay and anything else I feel like crafting, I suppose. But yeah, I hope this video helped you, and if you have anything cute or fun or cool to share with me, oh my gosh, please do just flick me a message, man, or whatever. But yes, for the millionth time, thank you for watching. I super appreciate it, and fingers crossed I get to see you in my next video. Bye!